Hi there, and welcome to Recruiting Strategist. I'm John Gates, and right now we're going to be looking at how to solve the recruiting and workforce problems in the U.S. mining industry. I'm going to give you the 3 keys to building a successful corporate recruiting strategy in the mining industry. But first, let's take a look at the problem. There's a massive shortage of mining talent brewing here in the U.S. That talent shortage is driven by 3 things. High prices for mined minerals means there's a lot of money to be made. And of course, whenever money's being made, everyone wants to expand. So there is a high demand for experienced workers. Number 2, the U.S. mining industry hired almost 0 people for about 20 years, from the 1980s until the early 2000 time frame. And 3, if you're like most mining companies, most of your workforce is eligible for retirement very soon. Now, it's my belief that U.S. mining companies are going to have to radically change the way they have recruited in the past, even just to replace those who are retiring. It's going to get very, very competitive out there, folks. You're going to have to become radical on the recruiting front. And that's what this presentation is about. I will teach you the basics of how to become radical. Whether you choose to make the necessary investments is up to you. But in my opinion, dealing with the recruiting crunch is a strategic imperative if you want to grow your mining business in the coming years. This here is a chart of average coal prices over the last 25 years. You see how they just walked along for many years, and then all of a sudden, bam, China becomes a net importer of coal. As I overlay the copper market, you can see a similar pattern, and then again for iron ore. China and India, which are half of the world's population, begin to really industrialize and develop. They're building cities. They need power. They need pipe, copper wires, and steel. So as the world turns that corner around 2003, the markets for all of these mined minerals start a very aggressive upward move. So before 2003 or so, nobody hired anyone for about 20 years, and the colleges and universities with mining schools folded up their programs. After 2003, as I'm sure you noticed, it became very, very hard to find the workers that you needed. But that's just the beginning, folks. Once the workforce starts the retirement plunge, you're going to feel the pinch of an industry-wide shortage of personnel, much, much worse than it is now. In every talent war I've ever fought, there were winners and losers, and the winners were always prepared to win. Remember, talent shortages can be both a threat and an opportunity. If you're prepared, you can win and grow, but only if you're ready to make 3 important investments. Now here are the 3 keys to winning the mining talent war. These are 3 changes or investments that all U.S. mining companies should consider to make progress. The first key investment is tools. Now every miner knows that the job is always easier with the right tools. The first tool you should consider investing in is a good applicant tracking system. Now, if you're still using spreadsheets and paper files to keep track of candidates and contacts, in a talent war, it's going to be like trying to remove overburden with this wheelbarrow. And if you buy a bad applicant tracking system, it can actually get worse for you by causing extra work or getting in your way. It's like moving from the wheelbarrow to this bucket. Now, buckets are cheap, and so are bad applicant tracking systems. They'll just get in the way and slow you down. If you're serious about a fast, efficient, high-quality, high-volume recruiting effort, and it looks like that effort is going to continue for several years, why not invest in a quality tool? In this respect, recruiting is a lot like mining. You have to move a lot of dirt before you get to the valuable stuff. You'll need a good applicant tracking system that will help your recruiting team to do more with less and faster. Now, I don't sell applicant tracking systems, but don't cheat yourself and get a bad one. Buy one that makes the recruiting process easier and faster for you. The next tool I mentioned here is strategic partnerships. You should work toward company-wide partnerships for relocation, background checks, and a couple of search agencies or sourcing vendors for critical positions. A few good relationships with good vendors can save money and create a consistent experience for the people you are trying to recruit. The last tool I'm mentioning today is an enhanced employer brand. There are lots of ways to improve your reputation out there with prospects. Your brand, though, is way more than an advertising message, and investing in your brand will help you to retain your current employees in a coming bidding war, as well as close that key hire that's on the fence with multiple offers. Improving your brand should be a major initiative at every level of your organization. The second key investment is process. I could go on for days about the details of process, but for now I'll just give you the highlights. Each bullet here is a major initiative, and you should be looking to make advancements in many or all of these areas in the coming months. The first major process point is enhancing your high school and college recruiting programs. You must find your next generation of employees. Right along with that is establishing mentoring and training programs. There should be some kind of fast-track program to find the young high potentials and move them up quickly into positions of responsibility. You should consider rotational programs if you don't already have them in place, so that those future leaders can be developed quickly. The next critical process element is innovative sourcing techniques. Finding people is way more than running ads and word of mouth, folks. Your recruiting team should be outbound, looking for talent. In a talent war, you can't just run an ad and wait for candidates to come to you. You have to be better than the competition at finding the right people fast. Okay, next we should have an improved selection techniques. I could talk about this one all day too, but I'm sure you know already that hiring only the highest performing people is a good idea. Adding a structured and thorough interview process that includes both behavioral and technical interviews and maybe some tests will help you. Building a competency model or system of values will help you to know what you're looking for in a candidate. Don't hire out of desperation, but instead interview a lot of people and hire the cream of the crop. A strong candidate pipeline machine and good selection process will help you to do exactly that. There are a million things you can do to improve the recruiting process. You can improve the job offer and reference processes, implement a solid diversity strategy, and build a good onboarding and orientation system. All of these things are important and worth investing time and resources in. The last major key to recruiting success is people. More specifically, though, a recruiting team that is highly specialized. Recruiting in most mining companies today is handled by skilled but very busy HR generalists. Now, I have incredible respect for HR generalists. The ones working for you are probably responsible for policy writing and enforcement, employee relations, union grievances, safety, theft investigations, and of course, when there's time, recruiting. But recruiting has become so important for most mining companies that it deserves a specialized team so it can get the focus it deserves. In my experience, you'll never get big traction in recruiting, or anything else for that matter, without focus. Recruiting also has its own set of skills. Good recruiters are aggressive, fearless, and tactful all at the same time. In fact, I'd say that great recruiting is more like a sales function than an HR function. Sales and recruiting are both driven by numbers, persuasion, and constant negotiation. If you decide to form your own dedicated recruiting team, I suggest you think outside the box. Think about structuring the team like a sales force and less like an HR function, even down to the way the team is compensated or rewarded for success. Be sure to hire recruiters with a strong sales orientation and a sense of urgency, and get the right skills on this team. Okay, that's about it for today's Recruiting Strategist. I hope I've given you plenty to think about. And if you have questions or need help in building your own competitive recruiting structure, you can get in touch with me at recruiting.strategist@gmail.com. I'd be happy to help. I'm John Gates, and until next time, happy hunting!